Welcome back, everyone. It's Thursday, March 9th, and yeah, you read the title correctly. These are the final days of Reddit Talk. In just 12 days, under 2 weeks, we've been informed yesterday, Reddit will be sunsetting and shutting down these Reddit Talks. So, if you guys have ever had anything you want to say on these Reddit Talks, these are the days to do so. But, we're not quite done yet. We're moving over to Twitch and Discord, and you'll always be able to see these stored on YouTube. So I would very much highly recommend you hop on that Discord link in the comments, because we would very much like to see you in the next live. All the links are stickied in the top comments. I do want to, at some point in these next 2 weeks, talk about all the great memories that we've built up over here. But maybe not today. Let's stay focused on plays and keep it going.
And please do not say the N-word.
Yes, please do not. Maybe I should have put some caveats on that.
Hey, for Discord, is there some kind of moderation that you similar to what you have? Is the format going to change for Discord?
Nope, the format's going to be exactly the same. We'll be up on stages. There will be events, so you'll actually get your notifications. Honestly, it might even be a better system than Reddit Talks.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Just a quick update. China and Japan are playing the World Baseball Classic right now. Japan is up 8-1. It's ninth inning. But yeah, if you don't know about Discord, go check it out. It's in the first comment of this chat, and you'll see the Discord link. Go ahead and click it and get invited and come right in. We got many great things for you, not only today, but many, many months ahead.
Is baseball really popular over there in Japan?
I'm gonna assume you didn't ask that question.
I'm gonna say yes.
Can I talk about Silvergate Bank liquidating? Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So Silvergate Bank's liquidating. We all sort of saw that coming, hopefully. I mean, Luce was saying last night, they had 500 they had 500 million cash on hand, and they said they were going to take $1 billion loss. Quick math tells you that's not going to work. So, this was sort of there was some warning signs that Silvergate might have this happen. It is surprising. There was an attempted bailout by another bank of them, but I guess their crypto portfolio was just too high risk. Also, special shout out to Theta Gang. Pretty much everybody over there was selling $3 puts, and I think they got annihilated. Sad day for people trying to make that play. So that's Silvergate. It's rough.
If they had bought puts, they'd been good, but they sold them.
That's right. Sold a bunch of $3 puts. Bunch.
They didn't get annihilated. The $3 puts, the premiums on those were extremely high. So even at the current price, they're probably going to break close to even. Because the premiums on selling those puts, I sold a $5 put. My basis cost on that is $3.84, and then I also bought some 450 puts. So I'm happy as a clam.
Oh, not nearly as dire as I thought it would be. But no, I assume you're going. Yeah.
Yeah, the premiums on those selling those puts was out of this world.
So how are you handling it? Are you going to try to buy it back now, or are you going to let it ride?
No, I'm probably going to buy. No, I'm just going to let it ride, and then I'll make up I'll make my profit on the puts the 450 puts that I bought. Like I did a put credit spread, so it dropped so far that I'll be making a lot more money on the 450 puts that I'm going to lose on the $5 put that I sold. I mean, literally on that $5 put, the premium I think was or I sold the contract for $104, I believe, and so yeah, my cost is like in the 380s.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, and it also sounds like you hedged a little bit there as well. Good call.
Always hedge.
Who were the big boys in Silvergate? Was it BlackRock or Blackstone?
PBA, you trying to say something?
Could you get within 10 feet of your mic, please?
Yeah, so far.
I think he was asking who the other major shareholders were.
It
How about
sounded
now?
like,
Blackstone is on. Yeah, much better.
it sounded like you said BlackRock.
Well, I was asking who were the major, who was mostly recently invested in Silvergate, pretty much. Was it Blackstone or BlackRock that took a position on it? Anybody else know any other entities?
I thought somebody mentioned Vanguard had like a 1 or 2% stake.
Yeah, somebody that mentioned that yesterday.
But doesn't JP Morgan Chase and Vanguard, don't they have the most shares in every company on the S&P? Like if you look on their top holdings for every company, it's always Vanguard and JP Morgan Chase on one of the top major holders for every company, or most of it.
That makes sense because they're usually using the shares as collateral for the ETFs that they're selling. They're not buying it speculatively.
Right. So when Vanguard takes a 1 or 2% position on it, it's pretty much, it's not newsworthy, right? Same old.
Newsworthy is if these entities take an unsecured position, so they're not buying to fulfill an ETF obligation.
Oh, somebody in the chat said Citadel as well. Okay.
That may be because of a loan Citadel was willing to extend to Silvergate, but I'm guessing was shot down.
So I feel like this is really localized, and there's really no chance of contagion risk. Does anybody disagree with that thesis? I mean, I just feel like it's...
Silvergate was basically a depositor for crypto assets, right? Is the FDIC stewarding the liquidation, or is there some sort of acquisition of the deposit accounts going on? Do you know, Scald? I assume you've researched this far more than I have.
I don't know who's handling the liquidation. I've not been able to find any news on that. If anybody has, I'd like to know.
Yesterday afternoon, I believe it was Bad Boy RD, or somebody else said that they had heard from news on the ground that the FDIC was there, and they were talking to them about liquidation, and then an hour later, a press release came out saying that Silvergate is going to liquidate. So apparently it's the FDIC that's over there.
Okay, so in that case, usually what happens is the deposit accounts are moved to a new bank. The depositors are not cut a check and then asked to redeposit elsewhere. So who is absorbing or receiving the deposit accounts? Because I imagine, Scald, if they are not well capitalized, the contagion risk will continue.
And then that bank becomes the new crypto bank, which does not appear to be a good position to be in. Unless, I mean, it's certainly possible that one of the big banks take it over, and then it's probably barely even a line item for them, right? I mean,
if it goes to the likes of Citi, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, or Chase, I agree. Anything less than those, I'd be a little more hesitant. Then it depends on the nature of those deposit accounts. I don't know the deposits of record as of yesterday at Silvergate, but I imagine it's enough to bring down a small bank if shit hits the fan.
Are we done talking about Silvergate, and can we move to other things hitting fans?
So, did we go over unemployment yet?
I don't think we have, but I was going to briefly touch on Norfolk Southern watch for some fun action with it today because their CEO is testifying before the Senate today.
Gonna go with that's a whole lot of nothing. It's just Congress critters taking the opportunity to look tough on illicit business.
Yes, but we also got to see how good of a puppy eye look that their CEO can do and go, "I'm sorry."
I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, by all means. All right. Unemployment claim number came in. It's 211,000 versus 195 expected. So I think we're starting to see the first signs of the initial wave of layoffs from November last year, running out of severance and starting to file for unemployment. If the unemployment rate, so for me, the unemployment rate number estimate has been revised down 0.2%. Oh, sorry, revised up 0.2%. So the forecast used to be 3.2, now it's 3.4. And I suspect with the unemployment claims higher than expected, the real unemployment rate number might go up. So if you're looking to be particularly degenerate, you can place an at-the-money 0 DTE SPY, 1 DTE SPY call for March 10, with the expectation that the unemployment rate number that comes out is higher than expected and therefore bullish because it signals potentially slowing the increase of rate hikes.
So if we're starting to see unemployment, hold on.
So I would probably look
be
at.
within 10 feet, not 10 meters of your mic. 10 feet of the mic, not 10 meters.
So for those looking
Got it,
for
got it.
more details on a play, look at let's call it 20 delta calls on SPY expiring tomorrow, and you enter those positions around 3:40 p.m. today.
So with unemployment going up, what does that mean for travel stocks? I guess we're going to see a slowdown in travel and leisure, especially hotels like Wynn Resorts.
Well, as a quick example, 211,000 new people applied for unemployment. Right? That doesn't necessarily mean they'll receive it. It's just the number who applied. Now, compare that against the 80 million people who travel? It's not yet a big enough number.
No, but you're saying you can see a trend starting to form, right?
Could also just as easily be a squiggle. Or simply slightly more noisy data.
So on the next report, let's say the amount is the same, about the same.
If the next report,
that doesn't seem like a squiggle to me.
If the next report needs to be higher than 211,000 to show that this phenomenon is accelerating and then turning into a trend. So
also,
you can
keep
speculate.
in mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Also keep in mind that you're getting people who are applying for unemployment benefits. There's not exactly rules about how they have to spend that. Now, necessarily, unemployment is going to vary state to state. Some states pay quite handsomely. I'm expecting a lot of these tech states are going to be among them. California is pretty generous with their unemployment, and that's primarily where we're seeing most of the layoffs. There's some states that have crap unemployment, but I think it remains to be seen what's going to happen there.
Should we move on to Credit Suisse? Have we talked about that? Not yet, right?
Man, we're not going to talk about a single successful company today, are we?
Did you hear there's a recession?
Well, when they delayed their 2022 annual report due to a call from the SEC, obviously that's not a good thing. That's we're pretty much seeing something going on, right? In other words, it doesn't look like they're in good standing. It might be another Silvergate moment, just out of nowhere.
Maybe the SEC said, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't quite prominently put your cocaine expenses on this report."
Maybe.
So, I mean, the speculation just fall out from Archegos, right? Because Credit Suisse underwrote Archegos. Archegos went tits up. They probably could have carried that loss, but then there was a double whammy where they took the Archegos hit in 2021 and they went into a recession in 2022. I mean, I guess that's the thesis, right? For Credit Suisse, right?
I thought it was 2023, but yeah, I think that was the thesis.
I mean, hopefully 2 bad years is not enough to destroy institutions. Again, Lehman Brothers survived a depression.
You're cutting out.
Scald,
You
that
fell into the
cornfield.
Scald.
So obviously Credit Suisse is going to be bailed out, but does that mean if it comes to that point, is that a bullish thing for the stock if it gets bailed out? Or once it gets bailed out, let's put it that way.
It depends on the terms of the bailout. Because if they get that bailout and they're not allowed to do stock buybacks like everyone did in 08, it's probably not going to be as bullish.
Good morning, you guys. You bring up 08, you bring up Lehman Brothers type of stuff. Is that what we got going on with crypto to start it off?
Unless you got to play. We'd love to hear that.
The play I'm in, Signature Bank. I've been in it. I'm on puts on
Nice.
that one.
Sure. How long are those dated puts you got there?
Oh, let me pull it up.
Or when did you get into the position, actually?
I've been in it for about a week.
All right. I just put the unemployment thesis down in the comments for those of you who are willing to take that degenerate bet.
Those signatures are way out. It's a lottery pick. I just looked at it. I got 60s for collapse.
Wait, what was the strike price?
Hold on. 60 foot, my strike. I bought a shitload at 0.10.
Yeah, but your strike price.
That's where I'm a degenerate, brother. I'd be true to you guys, man. I'm learning from Hardy as far as the Greeks go. It's definitely come major interest in the Gamma Max and the Delta and all that. I'm just new to the option side. It's really got me excited. It's got me too excited where I'm making stupid decisions.
That's what I'm talking about.
No comment. But Hardy, I do like that degenerate unemployment play. That looks pretty appealing. I assume they could come back. Correct me if I'm wrong. Could they come back and revise those unemployment rates?
Absolutely. But by then, you would have realized your tendies from the play.
Surely. Yeah, definitely. All right.
What's the deal with Campbell's soup? Why do you guys got puts on Campbell? I guess I gotta do my DD.
A lot of people here don't like Chef Boyardee.
Just give it a couple months, and your Campbell calls will be right in place.
Isn't Campbell more of a recessionary type of stock?
I would think so too.
Yeah, so I tried shorting them several months ago and it didn't work out for me. But they had a particularly bad tomato harvest in the States, and they owned, in addition to, all the soup brands and that, I think they also own Progresso pasta sauce. So that's where I think some people were looking at. Because I know I was.
So it has nothing to do with sales. It has everything to do with, I guess, them obtaining their ingredients or supply,
At least,
actually.
yeah, that was how it was for me. That was my thesis behind it, and they still ran up. My put expired worthless, so I have stayed away from them since then.
I'm looking at some of the charts. You got Tesla 179.
Latter day, you got annihilated by a can of raviolis.
I have to deal with them on a daily basis, and it hurts so much to look at them now.
I mean, Campbell's, that's like a staple of the USA. It's like Coca-Cola.
Speak for yourself. I had a homemade tomato soup.
Whoa, look how fancy this guy is. Homemade?
Yep, tomatoes from the garden, smashed. Ate every dinner. So that was it was fancy until I ate it like 10 years in.
We gotta take over Japan.
Yeah, it's just a joke. Just I don't even think you can survive on that many tomatoes.
I like to try the wave pools in Japan.
Tell that to a vegan. They can survive anything.
Well, back to plays. Yeah, so SPY's gapping up. Tesla was going down and coming back up, taking a little U-turn there. JD didn't really print for me. I thought they were going to have a good earnings call, but fortunately,
Yeah, regarding JD, you had a play on it? They did beat expectations though. It's just
yeah, but they didn't have a good enough earnings call for them to gap up this morning. So obviously, you saw them sell
well,
off.
what were you waiting for them to say AI?
No, they already are AI. If you don't know, then you know. But
Oh,
I was waiting for them to increase in value. I thought they were going to play off the China GDP, but I guess we'll see it next week.
gotcha.
They are a competitor to Baba, of course. So
Yeah.
So the China GDP went down, right? It was like 1% or something like that. They're expecting 1.9.
What?
What didn't the report that China CPI or whatever came out? Or I'm sorry, I have that mixed up. It's with United Kingdom. Okay.
I don't understand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was the CPI came out for one of the other markets overseas, and they came out where they're actually not going to increase their interest rates.
I have no idea. I do apologize.
I apologize for not having better information.
That's okay. You can always come back tomorrow. But you have 19 days after that. So.
Damn it. Jim.
Oh, I think you mean China's CPI inflation. It softens in February, or actually worsens in weak manufacturing. Did you mean China PPI, CPI?
Yeah, I forgot what country it was, but they came out with it, and it was lower. It was softer than what they expected.
Yeah, it missed expectations. It rose 1%, it says. But okay.
That's the one.
Speaking of 19 days, or I'm not really counting per se, enjoying all the moments I can on here. We do have a Discord. If you don't know about Discord, go ahead and check out the pinned comment in the chat. You'll see the Discord link there. Go ahead and accept the invite, and you'll be automatically in the Discord. I'm not really sure if I see some comments about asking for the login of WallStreetBets. I think that's just basically going to sync with your Reddit account. So that way you can get credit for like upvoting and whatnot in certain channels, like the Reddit feed. But yeah, check that out when you get a chance. Look forward to growing that group more and more and more. As Opinion stated earlier, we have stages. Hardy will be there with some great insights and talks, and we look forward to seeing you.
I do want to point out that the Fed funds rate announcement comes out March 22, which is the day after Reddit talks get nuked. So if you'd like to attend to observe some live trading, that would be the best place to do it. Or at least that's where I'll be doing it. While we all speculate and listen to J-Pow talk.
I love that, Ivy.
I'll be listening to his press conference for any new unexpected economic terms. The current vote is for anti-disinflation. I don't know if anyone has more fun ones to invent for him.
Good morning, gentlemen. Just want to get your opinion on something. So, I've been looking at the implied volatility for GameStop for a while now, and it is quite weird that they have the earnings coming up, but the implied volatility is at all-time low. Does anybody
The
have
earnings announcement came after market close yesterday, so expect IV for I think it's March 24. To start playing between now and earnings.
Hardy, you were not audible for like few seconds there. Would you mind?
Okay. So the press release came out after market close yesterday, right? So the market has not had time yet to price in the uncertainty. So if you want to try to make money on the GameStop earnings call, it may be to your benefit to buy a strangle at the money for March 24, or sorry, slightly out the money strangle for March 24. So let's call it the 18 put and the 1850 call, because the expectation now, as we approach earnings, the IV for the March 24 expiration will start to increase. As long as the price moves in one direction, you should be able to make money on that strangle. And I'll probably do that today, depending on how the price works out.
Right. Cool. Thanks, Hardy.
Good morning, guys. How's everybody doing?
Good morning.
So, I got high as fuck yesterday, right? I was smoking a blunt, and I was like, you know what? This situation that had happened a couple days ago, I don't know if you guys remember it, with these option pricing being mismatched on BJ, right? Got me thinking a little bit. So when I started looking at the institutional ownership, it looked like BJ institutional ownership was like above 90%. And I was like, well, that's fucking weird. I mean, it's not weird that they own 90%, of the company or more. But what's weird is that I noticed that any company, and I opened up like a chat GPT just to like ask it, hey, which publicly traded companies are owned by institutes by 90% or more. And then I opened up and looked at some of their option chains. And I noticed that there's on institutional investors that have ownership of 90% or more tend to have some weird option trading history, I guess, on some of these chains. Now, I don't have level 2 data. I really can't really see what's going on a deeper level, and I hope maybe somebody can take a look at it and look at for me. But like, I had companies that I just did like random searches of anything that had 90% or more ownership. And then ChatGPT gave me like a few that were just random, like FND, Team, Wix, DocuSign was one, VRTX, Pacey, RMD. Like all these guys have more than 90% ownership. And then I was like, well, fuck. I mean, who are these institutes that own more of these fucking shares? Like, so it looked like Vanguard and BlackRock are usually the main people involved in majority ownership in these companies. So I'm like, well, what the fuck? So why are these all options mismatched? Now, granted, some of them are weird. Like some of them are be like 100 or $1 above, and then like 400 or $4.25 below a strike price, and the middle strike price would be like 50 cents with some volume. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So is it due to my question is it, do you guys think it's due to just low volume and just fucked up option chains and somebody's writing these fucking calls and puts specifically, or is there something more going on here? Because it seems like...
Did you say Chat GBD?
Yeah, I said something. I don't fucking know. Just go with it. I'm still drinking my coffee, bro.
All right.
He's still recovering from,
Okay, continue, America.
Yeah.
The smoke's clearing.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But I don't know if anybody can look in it that has probably more intellect than me in this situation, or level 2 data on what actually is going on these option chains that are with institutional investors more than 90%. But they're completely mismatched and not priced in. Some have buyers, some don't. Some are just weird. So it was just bugging me last night. If anybody has any input on that, that'd be great.
I mean, you might have better luck if you try to do all this research while you're sober.
Yeah, and sir, this is a Wendy's. Did you say you wanted number 2 with that, or did you want
number 3? Number 3.
Okay.
See, I like what you're doing here. I do this with writing too. So yeah, you have your best ideas high, you write them down, and then you see, are they good when you're sober? You got to check them out when you're sober. That's my advice.
Was I too stoned? Is this like a normal thing? Like, was I just too fucked up?
I mean, you're asking the wrong person. You need to have a friend. It's called a buddy friend who stays sober, and then they watch you the whole time, and then they come around when you wake up.
Right.
Assuming you do. And then they say, whoa, did you know that you were? And then that's how that works.
Yeah,
but,
usually if I get too high, Mr. America, I like to enjoy music, not overthink things and analyze.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you're right. Maybe I just need a buddy who goes, put the fucking phone down and walk away, bro.
Or just go catch a wave.
Yeah, and this also goes for day drinking, pill popping, anything else. It's not exclusive to marijuana.
It's like, here's the test you need to ask yourself, and if it blows your mind, you're definitely too high.
Here's
if
the
a
thing,
pizza is a circle, then why is it in a square box? All the pieces are tiny triangles.
Or why do we drive in a parkway and park in a driveway?
Bro,
what? Okay, that was a good one, actually.
Yeah, when you start sounding like Socrates and you're asking yourself your own question, devil's advocate, kind of like I do, that's usually not a good sign.
Now, this does seem to be very bullish for weed stock. So how's Sundial doing, Mask?
Holy shit, I heard my name. Okay, Sundial is not doing so hot, but I do have a buy order in for $1.50 in case it does drop down there. Our very own human genome has some $1.50 puts. So if those print, I should be getting some shares, and this guy should be getting some shares at a hefty premium as well.
Yeah, I sold $1.50 puts on Sundial, hoping to get the shares. In other news, SVB dropped 30% overnight. It's the ticker symbol is let's see, Sierra India Victor Bravo. 15 billion market cap. Their shares dropped 30% pre-market. Apparently, they're the top lender to over half of the publicly traded Silicon Valley startups in 2022 over half of them are the customers of this SVB financial group. And apparently they need to raise capital to shore up their balance sheet. So they're issuing around 1.25 billion in stocks and 500 million in depository share offerings. Also, they said that the cash burn of their clients is higher than expected for 2022, so their deposits are decreasing at a faster than expected rate. So that's why they have to issue the new shares to dilute the stock. But a 30% drop on a $15 billion market cap company, that's like $5 billion overnight that they just burned. So
Are you still going to cheerlead for them? Just curious.
Who, SVB?
Oh, I thought you were talking
SIVB?
about- Yeah.
No, this isn't SBNY. This is a new bank. This is Sierra India Victor Bravo SVB Financial Group. Different than SI and SBNY, but it's another bank. So something to take a look at. So far, their shares are down 29.5% pre-market. Just wanted to bring it to you guys' attention. Possible other play.
Thank you.
There's
What was that
there's a
ticker?
lot of it's Silicon Valley Bank. A lot of Silicon Valley startups bank with these guys. It's either these guys or Mercury typically.
Yeah, it's Sierra India Victor Bravo, SIVB.
I'm showing that they're up.
Up?
Oh no, sorry. I just refreshed my browser.
188.
I was like, what in the world? Anyway.
No,
Can we go
they
back and
closed
short it on your?
yesterday. Yeah, no, I'm not sure. You got to check that browser. 267 closed yesterday. Currently pre-market 188. Yeah, what a drop.
Yeah.
So does anyone else find that troubling? We've got. I mean, I know it's different from the SI situation, but now we've got like multiple banks having to be capitalized or going to liquidate.
I mean, what do you
reasons.
expect? Can I just say this real quick? What do you expect? You got the Fed increasing interest rates at the end of the day. It's going to happen, right? You got banks saying like, "Hey, come give us your $100,000 and we'll give you $6,000, or give us $1 million, we'll give you $60,000." Even they're giving you all-time high money within 3 months. I mean, what do you expect? The gentleman was giving a good presentation yesterday on this, and yeah, if he's here, raise your hand so you can. Oh, you are in. If you want to talk about that real quick, the gentleman, if you guys, quick second.
Yeah, basically, if you're a VC, and this is going off of what Chamath Palihapitiya said on the most recent episode of his All In podcast, he uses basically a factor of 4 against the risk-free rate to evaluate what the 10-year return on a company should be if he invests on the ground floor. So when the risk-free rate is 6%, he doesn't expect to get 25% back ROI on a 10-year investment in a company. The math doesn't work out for him. So at that part, it starts to break, and then you start to see institutions say, hey, why would I try and pick whether Tesla's going to have a good year when I could just roll over my 6% 4 times? And when you want stability during a recession as an institutional investor, you want your manager to be covering bonds. You want stability when the market starts tanking. And I think it's more likely that SPY closes this month at 380, and you're going to see the PE ratio of the tech get rolled into safer bets. So, yes, that's all I have to say.
And what are you talking about there? Just
So basically, the hurdle rate for private investment is, or high tech growth, or basically long duration assets, is 6%. Is what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is right now, you can get 6% if you give a bank your money for 3 months. So when you can do that 3 months for the next 10 years, or invest on the ground floor in a company, it's better for you to just roll the money over on the 6%. And boomers love this too. Like, boomers were freaking out about 4% just last year. Now they're getting 6%, 6.5%, and we could even go higher. So it becomes
that's 6% annualized though, right? So it's
no.
Yeah.
Compounded 4 times. It's not annualized. It's 3 month.
Yeah. So basically, what he's trying to say is it's the discounted cash value. That's what you're looking at. You know, the future earnings power. Interest rates go up, their earnings power goes down. So I mean, that's the kind of the short and gist of it. So, but what you're talking about, like 3-month treasuries, where you can get 6% and then buy them 4 times. So the risk profile has become. We've come back on the risk profile. You don't have to go all the way out there and invest in something.com or
You don't even have to worry about the
AI.
You don't have to worry about treasuries. The bank is just saying, hey, give us the money, sign a certificate of deposit, and you cannot touch this money for 3 months. And then they manage the cash equivalents of, buying and selling bonds or allocating their funds to ETFs that are, US treasuries and government bonds like BND. Like, let them do that. But what I'm saying is, you guys can't decide where the market's going to go. Wouldn't you rather just get 6.5% for the next 3 months?
The banks have been making no money now. The bonds or whatnot, they'll be making some money. So it would be a solid play to get in some of the good banks, Bank of America, that type.
No, I agree with the gentleman. No, there's less riskier ways to make more money now, and it's the first time in a lot of people for their whole investing career, if you will, your whole lifespan, that's never been possible. So it's an interesting new wrinkle. I agree with that.
Yeah, I put some money on 4-week T-bills, and it's even better than the current investments I have. So much less of a headache. Yeah.
Hey, Hardy, I got a question. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ian.
Hardy, I have a quick question for you. So I'm looking on your website at Mara, MARA, Mike Alpha Romeo Alpha, and between March 4th and March 7th, the gamma max on that thing is shot off of your chart. It's like 100%. What causes that kind of a spike in the gamma max? If you want to talk about that a
Open interest
little
was
bit.
through the roof, basically, during those days.
Gotcha.
It's come back down since.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So, do you guys think SIVB still has more room to run? Hey, shut the fuck up, you two.
Wow.
God damn.
That guy beats dogs.
Yeah,
Dude, I have 6 dogs. I love dogs. They're just loud as fuck.
I'm calling the ASPCA on you, bro.
This is PETA Hotline. Yeah, what's your concern? Okay, we'll be right over there.
911, state your emergency. Yeah, that's a
We
guy.
gotta mod this guy.
Yeah, his name is America. Fuck.
Bruh.
Can we flare him hates money almost as much as he hates dogs?
Dude,
That's a good one.
I was walking one of my dogs a while ago, and she ate some sort of mystery berry, and I wasn't sure if this berry was poisonous, so I immediately slapped it out of her mouth. And then there was a bunch of people there looking at me like, "Oh my god, you're like literally Hitler because you just slapped."
Nah,
the dog
you should have
for
tried
no
it.
reason. I was like, "Get that out of your mouth."
If your dog tried it, you should have tried it too, just to make sure it's safe after the fact.
I should have ate the
Worst
berry.
comes to worst, you both get their sweet release of death.
So can we talk about MongoDB? This is a publicly traded database company, and I don't know why it exists. And it's down 9%. It's moving.
You don't know why MongoDB exists?
I don't know why it's publicly traded, Hardy. Like, that's what I don't understand.
I think of it as the NoSQL equivalent to Snowflake.
Oh.
Yeah, Mongo's the
But
shit,
and
man.
so they just have
Have
a
you
bunch
ever-
of enterprise customers, like I don't know.
Basically, yeah.
Well, they're down. They're down.
Didn't they just have earnings yesterday?
Yeah,
After hours?
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Earnings is great. You kidding me? 700% higher than expected. But I'm going to go with forward outlook as shit, probably because they didn't announce layoffs.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
slowing growth. There it is.
Heavily slowing growth.
But because MongoDB is pretty much the only real scalable NoSQL solution. There's a very good chance large parts of Reddit are powered by a MongoDB-like infrastructure. I don't see them going away in the near future. Or if ever, they'll be bought by one of the 3 cloud services, so they can license the NoSQL technology to the other 2.
So you still think that it's trading? You think that its current price is pretty reasonable for it?
Yes.
Okay. I was thinking it had more room to go down, but I guess I'll have to take a look at it again.
205. So it's at 205 right now. Delta neutral is 196 on them. So they have. I probably would wait till it comes back down to like the 190s, which it might do today, before going back on calls.
Everything has room to go down.
Of course.
Speaking of things that have room to go down, Twilio, TWLO. Fuck that company first and foremost, because it is the reason. Never mind, I'm not even going to say it. You can do your own research, but fuck Twilio.
You gotta say it. Why?
I would think this is bullish because they're shedding a product that's not generating meaningful revenue for them.
And what product would that be, Hardy?
A multicast streaming service.
I love Twilio because nobody has anything bad to say about them.
Well, I do see them at their Gamma Max, and just saying, fuck Twilio. Buy puts on Twilio.
So if everybody's all bearish on everything, does anybody have any VIX plays? I mean, the VIX is relatively low considering the fact that all these banks
You
are
gotta
failing.
play. Anytime you think UVXY is a buy SVXY. Thank me later.
Yeah, I actually have calls on UVXY right now.
I'm bullish on SQQQ. Does that count?
That's a bigger brain play, in my opinion. That counts.
I'm bullish on that one as well.
I probably would avoid entering SQQQ in the run-up to the unemployment rate figure coming out. But in the week following, yeah, I have no trouble selling more cash-secured puts against it.
What I don't understand is with Powell's testimony, why I would think the VIX would increase, because Powell just confirms rates higher for longer.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the part that wasn't really kind of making sense is like a large reason, or at least I think, that all these banks like Silvergate and SIVB and everybody that's like losing money is because risk ratings are increasing. And when your risk rating increases, it comes at a higher cost because you have to have more on hand to be able to cover those deposits. So if you have more cost on hand, I mean, that's just going to eventually domino effect eventually, isn't it?
So I think Powell is actually being quite smart with overstating during the congressional hearing, because then he can pull back those statements in a press release, in a press conference where he is not under oath. So he overstated so that in the event they try to like catch him on a technicality, he can say, I was being conservative, I didn't perjure myself. But in the press release where he's not under oath, he can say whatever the fuck he wants.
He's definitely
Yeah, that's the problem.
Like anti-non-disinflation.
No one wants to be the next Irving Fisher, is what it comes down to. For those of you that don't know, a few days before the 1929 stock market crash, Irving Fisher came out and said, this is great. This is just the price that stocks are going to be forever, and only an idiot wouldn't be getting into the stock market right now. And, you know,
Is that the same day that Murphy's Law became fact?
Right, pretty much.
Excuse me, if you check the charts, anyone who held from that day forward made money in the long run.
It's not
Stocks go up.
Yeah, after like 7 market crashes.
They had to be bank holders first before they could be multimillionaires.
But
Blasphemer, last I checked, stocks only go up.
You only lose when you sell.
Except Twilio, right?
Hardy, quick question before the bell. I'm thinking about setting up a trade in front of the March 14th CPI report. If you, and this is just a risk I'm willing to take, if you're expecting a softer number, what kind of calls could you make? What kind of tickers could you play around that trade?
If you're expecting a softer CPI number, which means that the inflation rate is decelerating, then that would be bullish because inflation is approaching the 2% target that the Fed set. So you could probably do something like puts against SQQQ if you really wanted to play the binary event. Or you can find a ticker who has a high beta or high sensitivity to SPY and use that as a leverage play on a movement in SPY. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm actually writing this down right now, brother.
And then in terms of plays, CPI comes out March 14 at 8:30 a.m. So you would look to enter, in my opinion, if you want to only expose yourself to the event, you want to enter something like a 20 to 30 delta call on March 13, expiring as soon as possible after March 14, and also enter the trade as close as you can to market close, so like 3:45, 3:50 p.m. before the liquidity dries up.
Do you ever place trades around these events? I mean, this is one of
Yes.
those ones where
So
you do. Okay.
I'm doing the degenerate unemployment play, but I'm only putting up 0.25% of my capital for this particular play. Because part of the trouble is the unemployment claims increase is for last week, which only includes 2 days in February. So it's unclear how much of that increase is in the first 3 days of March versus the last 2 days in February. And
Gotcha. Okay.
that's part of where my uncertainty comes from. So I don't know to what extent it'll affect February unemployment. However, as we go through March for the unemployment claims reports on the 16th, 23rd, and 30th, that'll give us a better sense of to what extent unemployment in March will be higher for the April report. So
yeah, I mean,
we'll revisit that. We'll revisit the unemployment trade again in like April. I want to say it's probably going to come out on the 14th, to be determined. But
do you trade around? Do you trade around the CPI and the I forget the name of it, like the corporate CPI, for lack of a better term, like the bulk? Yeah.
Only when there's a lot of disagreement on what the outcome will be, or if the IV on SPY is wide enough relative to previous CPI run-ups.
Brilliant. Brilliant, man. Thank you for your time.
So I'll take a moment to talk about a company I'm actually bullish on, because that can exist. And since it's me talking, it's going to be a company that mines things, because that's what I do. Anyway, so Energy Fuels, ticker UUUU, which is a company I've talked about, had their earnings yesterday. The big takeaway from it, they don't have any debt. They have so yes, no debt for a company. That's a good thing. 120 million in cash, and they're currently going to use 25 million of that to make a conversion at their oh god, what is it called? Their actual mine, their processing facility, to start processing over rare earth elements. For those of you not familiar, they're used for EVs. Essentially, by the end of the year, they're anticipating be able to produce enough rare earths to power about 1 million EVs a year for the actual magnets within the batteries. So, kind of an interesting move, something that US companies don't really do. Most rare earths come out of China, which you can imagine not super fun for the US. So if you're looking at like a tangential EV play, they're a company looking to do that.
Have you already moved in buying shares or holding any options yet, Brad? Or just?
Oh yeah, I've had them for a while. So they're they were originally a uranium company. They still do uranium, but they're moving into rare earths because rare earths have a lot of radioactive isotopes innately built in, but since they're already a uranium company, what is normally waste product, they can just resell as like isotopes to cancer research companies or whatever. So they have the added benefit of they don't have to pay for waste removal. It's a resellable product because they're permitted for radioactive material.
One quick thing, Jinko Solar is reporting earnings tomorrow at 7:30 in the morning. I'm probably going to buy some calls. The news on them recently has been pretty positive. There was something out yesterday that their solar panels are passing through U.S. customs without any issues. It looks like their sales are probably going to be up, so I'm expecting positive earnings and positive guidance going forward. So I think I'm going to buy a few calls. Earnings tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern.
What's the ticker?
JKS, Jinko Solar, Juliet Kilo Sierra.
Were you
Looks
in the
like-
military?
No, I got my private pilot's license. They use the same phonetic alphabet.
Whoa.
Looks like SPY's doing a roundabout and coming back down. Pre-market, it jacked up, but it looks like it might come back down. We'll see.
You can also play Microsoft Simulator. They have a nice little call tower there if you need practice.
Awesome. Thank you, AI.
Oh, I wasn't talking for you. I was talking for anybody else out there. You're
Yeah,
there.
I was
Okay, well,
wondering how can I become a pilot? I was gonna be.
Well, fuck
I was
you,
just
AI.
gonna fire up.
I was giving
You
you a
need
compliment,
like
human genome.
if you want to be a
but,
commercial
I like-
pilot. If you aspire to be a commercial pilot, you need something on the order of 2,000 hours of flying. So,
Yeah, how much is flight school? Like, is it a lot?
flight school isn't what's expensive. What's expensive is getting flight time.
Yeah.
Renting a
Renting
Cessna
the
and taking
aircraft.
it up for 2,000 hours ain't cheap.
Right.
Unless you know someone that owns one, then
Yeah, but you have to be like really good friends with them. That's like worse than borrowing someone's boat. That's just
Yeah, but
really
don't airlines prefer people out straight out from the military than people who came out of flight school with
Yes, they do.
thousands of hours?
Correct, because the people who come out of military pilots have the 2,000 hours of training, so they don't require any additional cost to train them. Straight out of flight school, they only have maybe 40 hours of actual flight time. So you need to get to the 2,000. Long way to go.
But airlines are
But it-
desperate now, so they might have some pretty good perks if you want to go that route.
So it's interesting. American Airlines basically matched Delta's salary hike for pilots, and they also made it retroactive, which is very unusual for American Airlines specifically. So
Right.
I suspect JetGeek has been taking on as many hours as he can to take advantage of this and build up his seniority.
So yeah, market is open. I have been mentioning these plays, but yesterday I started actually buying EWW. That is the Mexico ETF. Thinking about repatriation of supply chain and the positive effects going on there. I did buy Northrop Grumman and RTX Raytheon. So,
Whoa, that's a great ETF, by the way. EWW.
yeah, and we've talked about it's looked miserable over the 10-year chart and the 5-year chart, but that's also because they haven't had the opportunity that's afforded them after the pandemic, and it really looks like
those
they're
SIVB puts are crazy right now. If anybody's interested in looking at them,
Go back to the Mexico. What were you saying?
I was going to say, just after the pandemic, now that so much of the supply chain onshoring, you hear about, it's not going to be able to be all done in the United States. So a large portion of it, I feel like, will go to Mexico. So that's kind of my thesis behind it, that I think it will be a nice long-term play to add to my international exposure. So.
They're really going to call an ETF
see.
ew? Come on, man.
Well,
I
and I
mean,
have fun with it in Discord because you can quote EU a lot.
Man, you weren't kidding about these SIVB puts. I especially like the April 21st $175 puts that's currently up 264,900%.
Yeah, they're
oh my
fucking
gosh,
insane, dude.
What?
dude! Whoever got puts on that,
Yeah,
congratulations.
they were I think at 50 cents a contract before this. So yeah,
There's
somebody made tons of money.
no, nobody made tons of money. There's zero volume, zero open interest. It's just theoretically someone could have made money, but nobody did.
Damn.
So I do want to call out that a strangle right now on GameStop, March 24 expiration is about 250 or 260. So I'm buying a couple dozen of those for myself in the run up to earnings, and I intend to exit before earnings to avoid IV crush.
Is your position in that like free now, Hardy? I know you've been selling calls against it.
So for the shares that I have in my brokerage account, their effective price is like -8. That is to say, I've sold so much premium, I effectively have earned $8 per share on those shares, in excess of my original purchase price back in the 20s. I have another block of shares sitting in ComputerShare, so that in the event some fuckery goes on with the collateral I have in my brokerage account, I can use the ComputerShare shares to bail me out. And then on top of that, I've committed a fair amount of cash to selling puts to acquire more shares, as long as it keeps my average acquisition price for all shares close to zero. So it's kind of fun making almost free money this way.
No, I appreciate that. I know the past couple months I've been on here, I know it's gotten better and better, but the first time I heard it was actually you're negative, but in a good way. So kudos.
I want to talk about WWE. How is it that they're trying to legalize their betting on scripted match results? How does that help them at all? If the outcome has already been decided before you even try to make a bet.
The people placing the bets don't know the outcome.
Yeah,
No,
but
they're not
the
supposed
people
to.
should know that it's already scripted, though. So if they make a bet, it'll be
Right, but how does that entice somebody?
It makes you want to watch because you have money riding on it. It's the same way that fantasy sports brought a bunch of fans into sports they otherwise didn't care about. Putting money on the line makes people get into it.
But you can see it's scripted. Like if I've gone to one WWE match and it's super scripted straight from the start to the end. You know you know who's trying to win. You know
You're
who's going
not
to win. You
dealing
know
with
who's going to
the
lose.
highest IQ people who watch WWE. You know, it's not. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing. They know it's fake, but at the end of the day, if I'm betting, let's say I'm doing an American football game, okay, and I'm betting the Giants versus the Jets. It's not scripted, but at the end of the day, one team will win, one team will lose. If I'm doing wrestling and it's The Rock versus Steve Austin, yes, the outcome was predetermined, but I don't know that outcome. You can still, in theory,
Yeah,
make
you
a
can.
bet.
You can know the outcome. You can see who's trying to win, who's trying to lose.
You can try to predict the story and how the story should move, but you don't necessarily know who's going to win that match beforehand. I don't think it's a great betting thing, but I understand why, as a business, WWE would be interested in putting money on the line.
So it does that. Are they trying to become more like DraftKings and FanDuel?
I mean,
Is
you can
that-
bet how long the halftime show at the Super Bowl will be. You know, you can bet if there'll be nudity. You can bet on anything these days.
I would imagine WWE would love to add some type of fantasy sports aspect where you could like try to have like a wrestling group to see which one gets championship belts and there's a points associated. That has done so much for the NFL and viewership to have fantasy sports associated.
Yeah, I'm going to stick to college basketball. I put my wrestling figures in the garage in 3rd grade.
Third grade?
Strange brag, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we used to do is we would shave their heads off with the exercise bike. I had like the Ultimate Warrior and Hogan, me and my brother would ride the exercise bike and like basically melt their heads down.
Maybe this should be a talk for your therapist, not us.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's really fucked up.
Just
Don't
waiting
you
for him
know,
to be
don't
like,
you know
and then we
toys
found.
got feelings, bro? Have you never
yeah,
seen Toy
I
Story?
think you might be worse than the
Sid,
America guy that screams at his
he's
dog.
probably worse than Sid from Toy Story.
Hey.
No, I definitely had my moments in life. I think I turned out all right though.
Do us a favor.
I don't think
if
so,
you
bro.
if you ever get the urge to repeat that with small animals, call somebody first.
And we love you, Captain F-Bomb. Just leave your dogs alone.
Did you guys catch the latest episode on South Park on ChatGPT?
Nah, bro.
What do you mean?
It's fucking
Dude,
hilarious.
I left that shit in my garage in 3rd grade.
Okay. Okay.
So, speaking of AIs, I've heard rumors that Elon wants to make his own AI completely uncensored so that it can be free to say what it wants because we can't have censorship. And we all know we all know what happens when you have a completely uncensored AI that can access anything it wants for its information.
No, it's gonna want its own free will.
Oh, forget free will. I have under 2 hours before it gets into the Hitler did nothing wrong territory.
That's what happened with Tay, which was Microsoft's spot, and it took about 2 hours. Yeah, you're right.
And I'm sure with all the level-headed rhetoric in the last 5 years, it'd be a lot calmer too. Yeah, it's like minutes now.
Didn't Elon invest like a bunch of money into OpenAI when it first started?
He did, and there's a good chance he still holds his stake. So it'll be interesting to see to what extent he's able to convince someone to leave. Because remember, OpenAI's advantage is not the actual LLM, it's the training and the tag dataset.
He put out a tweet that he's pretty pissed off about how they're censoring it and using it for profit and shit.
Yeah, he's also tweeted saying that the disabled guy was, I won't repeat it, but basically shitting on a disabled employee at Twitter.
Not just a disabled employee, but he fired him through Twitter as a joke, and it turns out that that's potentially going to cost him millions, because that was part of a company buyout deal.
Frankly, not my problem, but looks like someone just got a huge payday. And I'm sure plenty of lawyers are circling on a contingency basis. Also, I just filled my GameStop March 24 Strangle at a combined price of at $253. So if you can beat that price, you'll be doing better than me.
So, are you speculating that instead of chasing ambulances, lawyers are going to start chasing Twitter employees leaving the parking lot?
It's that one.
If Silvergate closes its doors on Sunday, let's say, and you have puts expiring April 21st, how do they resolve if the actual company gets delisted?
Liquidate it, right?
Yeah, let's say they liquidate their assets. They say Silvergate holding company is no more. How do they resolve the puts?
What if you're holding shares too?
Asking for a friend.
It goes to zero.
And what does one do with its shares? Asking for a friend.
I don't think it actually goes to zero because that's the whole point of a contract, isn't it? Is to you're paying the premium for the contracted rate to sell at that rate. I'm pretty sure it's like when they are liquidating, it goes preferred stock and options contracts first, and then common stockholders after that get the shit end of the stick.
But that's if his contract is in the money, right? I think he's asking if it's out of the money and you have a gain.
Well, he's saying he has puts, so if it goes to zero, his contract
Right. If he
in
has
the
puts, I
money.
mean, yeah, if he has puts,
Oh,
he's
right.
green right now. So, I mean, I
Yeah,
have
that's
puts
true.
right now, and I'm looking at it. I'm waiting for. I'm trying to figure out why it's not going down at all. It's literally dead stagnant.
So he should be good then.
Yeah, he should just
If somebody
sell.
has puts, yeah.
Right. Just sell because I mean somebody's going to buy the new premium, so just sell the puts, which is what I'm doing.
Someone asked in the comments, Jam, Hardy, are you doing calls or puts? Calls or puts on what exactly? I bought both calls and puts just now for GameStop.
The answer is yes.
You probably missed the original by your original plan. He just heard you say you got it at that price.
I see. So to clarify, Jam, I bought a strangle. So I bought calls and puts at the 18 and 1850 strikes for March 24 expiration for the run-up to the March 21 announcement of earnings for GameStop. I intend to exit this position on or before March 21, so I avoid IV crush.
Thanks, Hardy.
And in the classic WallStreetBets way, both sides are currently losing money.
I just thought it was great, opinions talking about how we can reminisce about the good old days. Kind of like veterans.
We need the I think we need the Reddit IPO soon.
Why would we do that?
To get puts on it because they're removing the talk.
Yeah, Reddit IPO is off the table.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to IPO a company in the current economic environment, but I could be wrong.
I hope Reddit IPOs through a SPAC though.
I'm playing XOM today, just a heads up on some oil. Short, a call's expiring tomorrow. Just about $2 out the money. Fuck it, I'm gambling.
Are you just thinking with the recent drop in crude, it's bound to rebound? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, basically, just a slight rebound would be all right. I mean, I'll be happy if it can push $3 today.
Did we talk about Oxy and how Warren Buffett is increasing its stake?
I think we mentioned it yesterday, but
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it was mentioned yesterday.
I'm reading this news article that says the majority of Gen Z and majority of millennials, 52 and 53%, say women's rights have gone, quote, too far. Happy day after International Women's Day, everybody.
Spit my coffee out. Gone, you're
So,
killing me.
puts on Becky, is that what we're saying here, Scald?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe puts on Lululemon. I don't know. Hard to say.
Did you guys see that for that Women's Day shit? Hershey came out with a special bar and had a trans dude that's now a woman masquerade for the mascot. So the Daily Wire company came out with their own chocolate bars to kind of say fuck you, and they came out with two, the he him bars and the he she or her she bars, and the dude bars have nuts in them. They sold $600,000 in the first day just to dig at Hershey's.
That's awesome. Her, she.
So what? Him, his? Is that the new candy bar? Or him, he, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd actually probably
something
go
like
with
that.
him, her. I mean, if it's trans. Or her, him.
Did
Or
anyone see
Women's
that
Day.
they gave a transgender woman like the special award on International Women's Day at the White House?
I did. I also saw that Ford released their man expedition or whatever it was called. Basically a car without all the innovations brought by women, and of course that fucked my puts.
Wait,
Why did the
what?
car work better?
It's not that the car worked better. So Ford celebrated International Women's Day in a very roundabout way. They announced the production of a new car, hypothetically, of course, for men. And the car excluded all innovations that were invented by women. Things like heated seats, windshield wipers. And I forget the rest of the list, but it was a long list.
Cup holders, I'm sure. Mirrors, I'm guessing, right? Like mirrors.
No, I can't be cup holders. Where are you going to put your beer?
You don't need cup holders
He
when
said
it's
cup
a damn race car.
holders, not cup holders.
Anyway,
Yeah, that chart looks ugly. Sorry, Hardy. I just looked at it. Yeah, you could see yesterday. Yeah.
So they were trying to show how shitty a car would be without women's inventions? Is that the idea?
Yep. And to be fair, it received pretty good. The marketing team received pretty good awards for that.
I was just going to say, look at how far it came. We're talking about it in WallStreetBets.
Right?
Also true.
Yeah, free marketing right there. Apparently, it has no turn signals either. Those were also invented by women. It'd be pretty hard to turn a car without those.
Unless you're a BMW driver.
I guess it makes sense that turn signals were invented by women because no one pays attention to them.
Okay, I think we've gone far enough down this road.
Big oof on that one, dog. Yeah, let's move on.
Anybody playing meta today?
What's there to play? Or what's the thesis?
None actually. Just got calls expiring tomorrow. Just curious to see if I'm the only one riding.
Isn't Meta changing directions from no longer focusing on their virtual world to now focusing on what they used to focus on?
Sort of.
Well, wasn't there like a hidden?
They're
spending
financing
less.
the share
Stealing
buyback.
data?
They're financing the share buyback by reducing the spend that was allocated for the metaverse. So instead of dropping $15 billion a year on metaverse development, he's only going to spend $8 billion.
And they're focusing more on AI stuff. Llama.
Well, yeah. Llama's weights got leaked, so I don't think that's going to be an issue anymore.
Look at the spy go.
Hey,
Damn.
Dicks down.
With the Llama weights
Spy.
released, I have no doubt that the likes of OpenAI and Google with Bard have their experts downloading the data and picking at it.
Spies above 401.
Has anyone seen how Facebook now has a thing where you can like make someone's pictures like talk or sing?
Yeah, look up Avatarify. It's similar to that technology, but it's using a control model for the face instead of a mimicked human face.
I've seen some of those with historical figures and paintings. It's kind of funny. It's humorous again. But what's the real value to the company?
That's what I was wondering, because I feel like they've had to spend all kinds of money on that with like the licensing for the songs and that.
I mean, I guess in the long run, they're trying to keep the eyeballs there longer to do more. That's more ad space. They make more money that way. But yeah, it's hard to really derive a true value on it. They're not. It's not adding a lot to the bottom line, I think, or it's not quantitative. It's not quantable yet, right? I don't think it's there. I think everyone's out there counting their tendies. I hope that's what it feels like. Lots of green on the board.
Yeah,
A
like
lot of tax loss harvesting
all
going on
these
right now.
puts are going crazy.
I'm still looking into this uranium dildo mining company, so very busy.
Oddly specific. Is this the company that sells dildos to fund uranium mining?
Yep, that's the one.
Okay.
It's clearly the future.
I mean, there's a market for it.
I'm hoping they're going to change their name to Big Dick Energy at some point.
Is that you?
No, this is a different company.
That's amazing. The amazing name. I exited my remaining troika because it pumped for some reason yesterday and this morning. So I had free rolled some of the shares, and I'm just out. I don't know what's going to happen after this.
What about BJ's? They reported they're up 4%. How's everyone doing on those? The accidental calls.
They ain't worth shit still, but they don't expire till the 17th, so fuck it. Hold it.
Right. Yeah.
What they report?
I mean, it looks good, but I don't know. The stock price is reflecting. Sorry. Again, I brought it up as a joke. Sorry, PP. I didn't really know that one.
What?
Originally, yeah. But I mean, I do know of it, but I just haven't taken the time. Sorry, I just saw that it was up. Go ahead, Skull.
Oh, I got nothing. Sorry, I'll mute. All right, guys, we got about 5 minutes left here. What else we got going on?
Looking at puts on BBAI, in general, not bullish on AI. I think there's just way too many people claiming they do AI. But more specifically with BBAI, looking at news about how they were basically SPAC'd. So apparently there's a lawsuit going on with a bunch of these SPACs in terms of the common stock rights relative to what happened at the IPO. I'll post a link in the chat. Super confusing legal speak, but I just think that they're going to come after some of these things that SPAC'd.
I mean, that's a risk to a lot more than AI companies. So if they're going to come after all the specs. So, what's the logic for going after Big Bear? Just that AI is overhyped?
My general opinion is that SPY is too heavily weighted towards technology going into a recession. So the PE ratio is going to come down in all these tech companies as the price comes down, because people are going to leave speculative assets and go into safer investment vehicles like the certificates of deposit we were talking about earlier. So I just think that as a investment comes out of speculative tech, the price will come back to earth. And anytime I see negative news lining up with a thesis I already have, it's kind of like, okay, well, confirmation bias. Here's another reason to be negative or bearish on AI at the current moment.
Didn't another AI company just have earnings? SoundHound, ticker SOUN. Oh, they did just have earnings, and they are down a fair amount since then.
So I found an interesting thing with Silvergate. Apparently, people left a bunch of bids open that were easy to snipe. So for example, the bid would be 5 cents and the ask is 10 cents on a company that's going to zero, on the put. So basically, you could have gone around, bought everything for 10, and now they're selling for 15. I'm talking $1 puts, 50-cent puts, that type of thing. So if you're still bearish on Silvergate, there are some contracts if you think the company actually goes to zero.
Yeah, that's a smart play. I did that a couple times. I actually did that when you guys mentioned Victoria's Secret doing a stock buyback a couple weeks ago. I immediately hopped on a call that was, I don't know, maybe about 750 out of the money, and then I just literally sniped those within the first 5 minutes and flipped it. I'd probably say 30 minutes later for 20%, 30%, something like that.
Yeah, I'm picking up 50%, 100% on some of these, just because it looks like people just didn't think hey, maybe I should move my bid a little bit higher. The news came out after hours, obviously, that they were liquidating all their assets and shutting down. But I don't think whoever was trying to get puts yesterday affected their
Yeah, I'm
orders.
still trying to figure out how they're so stagnant at 3. I mean, if nothing else, I would imagine that they would at least be bleeding down, not bleeding up.
I don't think a lot of people know if they shut down or if somebody's going to come in and scoop up the company. And they don't understand that Silvergate's a holding company. So I think there's a lot of legal stuff going on that retail doesn't understand, which is why some people are still buying shares and buying calls on Silvergate.
I figured all that movement was just market makers in order to, for Citadel and BlackRock to try to salvage something out of their 7% that they own.
So regarding these Vanguard, JP Morgan Chase, we were talking earlier, they were large majority stakeholders in most S&P 500 companies. Regarding to Silvergate, isn't it in their best interest to just dump their shares and not do any hedging?
The open interest for the $5 calls that expire March 17th is like over 2,000.
So they stand to gain more if they just stay in and be a market maker on those.
Hey, PP, sorry to interject, and we'll come back to your JP Morgan question. But yes, I'm hosting to answer your question in the comments. I'm also running the Discord stage for the first time, testing it, and it's actually going really well. Audio is even better here than on Reddit, and it's just working extremely smoothly. So maybe after this talk, we can all filter over there. But testing-wise, it's going very well. And this is the key part. Notifications work way better on Discord than they do here. So really good tool.
Do we get more emojis?
We do get more emojis, actually. But I don't know if you can use them.
I get about 100 different spams messages from scammers every time I log on to Discord in any kind of financial chat. It's just Discord's just filled with Chinese scams.
That doesn't happen there. I've been on it pretty frequently. Sorry, I'll act like a non-interested third party, but
I get the same on Reddit.
Yeah,
I get the same on Reddit.
I highly recommend that you just lock your Discord down to where no one can message you. Like, no one can message you unless you accept their friend request first. I've used Discord also professionally for years because, like, it's pretty heavily used in the crypto communities. And so I got to the point where I was getting ungodly amounts of messages. So I locked my Discord down entirely. You can't even message me unless we're already friends on Discord.
Yeah, but our server does really well.
Well, that's mean.
You have to get verified connecting it to your Reddit account. And so if you end up, doing DM spam, you get banned on both Discord and Reddit. And so to get back in, you have to evade not just like Discord's bans and get past their ban evasion detection, but also Reddit's. So it's actually a pretty cool system.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I just feel like so far my time on the WallStreetBets server has been pretty good, and it feels pretty locked down to me.
Yeah. Also, make sure you're on the right WallStreetBets server. There's like 3 of them. But okay, I'm going to go back to the other conversation. You guys continue hanging out here and cycle on over whenever you guys are ready. Sorry to interrupt the JP Morgan question, PP. Go ahead.
So when's the official move over?
Probably over the next 2 weeks, we'll every single day nudge more people over there, and then I think on the 21st, that's it. There's no more Reddit talks.
We'll probably, opinion in the last week prior to the 21st, have the reverse where the Discord is streaming to the WallStreetBets talk, or maybe we have a loop reminding people listening in to go to the Discord.
Yep, that makes sense to me.
Because people don't always come here every day.
Yep.
Probably still want to do some static posts too after.
Yeah.
The last day of Reddit talks, we should just leave it open until they cut the talks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Marathon,
I think I missed the reason. What was the reason that it was getting moved? I mean, I'm not complaining about moving over to Discord. I was just curious. What was the reason that it moved
It's
over?
America. It's all his fault.
The
Reddit
short
talks are
story-
going away.
Yeah.
Reddit is killing the talk product because an upstream provider is killing the resource that Reddit used to make the talk product.
Increased cost. Heard.
We should just open mic America for a whole day, the last day.
Hear him beating his dogs. Oh gosh.
Yeah, the more I'm using...
I think I could imitate him, but he does it better. I'll just leave it alone. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I think the more I'm using Discord stages, the more I'm realizing how much Reddit really just copy and paste it. And I mean, there's a small number of things here that are better, like the soundboard. There's no soundboard on Discord. But other than that, it's pretty. I mean, Discord has a significantly better product.
So basically, all we need to do is ask Discord to add a soundboard, and it's better.
I can also turn on my video chat and show off my dank Enron hat that I'm currently wearing.
I have Alexander Nix's business card.
Nice.
Give him a call, Hardy. Give him a call.
Is that worth anything?
I mean, it's a fun icebreaker whenever I'm in at like one of those snobbish cocktail parties. Oh, you know people from Meta. Have you met Alexander Nixa? As a matter of fact, I have.
Until somebody says, "Can you get them on the phone? Can you call them now?"
He's probably still in jail. I haven't checked.
I saw a Bear Stearns jacket for sale on eBay the other day, but I got outbid on it. I was deeply disappointed.
How much? How much you see it for?
Oh, it sold for $110. But I collect corporate swag from companies that have gone bankrupt, like high profile bankruptcies. It's a weird thing to collect, but
what'd you get from Lehman?
Oh, Lehman Brothers? I don't have anything from them yet, but they do have this really great like pullover that I think they had for a corporate retreat, and I've seen it come up on eBay a few times, but I've never won a bid. Still waiting to snipe one of those.
We had a guy who would always rock his Bank One shirt. We didn't even work at a bank, which I thought was funny.
Oh, it's like the child predator wearing free candy, or what's another one? The Twilio exec saying "I love Reddit," wearing a shirt saying "I heart Reddit."
Yeah, I didn't know that this was a thing. That's interesting.
That's why the gentleman was talking about shorting Twilio earlier on the talk.
Apologize, I didn't feel the I know why the passion's coming from now. I appreciate it even more.
Opinion: did you know that Ryler is watching the stage? Oh, never mind. It's not Ri-Fi. My mistake.
Has anybody been watching CVS since earnings? It's been on a steady downtrend here. I don't know if anybody's got puts on it or not. I don't know if I should get
CVS, you said?
Yeah, CVS. Take a look at it.
Yeah, I had puts on it and I sold them. The reason why I think it's going down is because they said they're investing into basically building out primary care facilities alongside CVS's, and those don't become profitable until 3 years, they said in their guidance. And in some cases, it can take 7 years for a primary care facility to become profitable. So I think that guidance on the short term is negative for the amount of cash they'll be investing and not generating like profit on. But long term, I think that is good because there's a massive boomer market that they'll be providing services to. But at the same time, CVS is getting its lunch ate by not only like politicians dealing with theft in various areas. Like, I'm not sure if you've seen the reports of different stores getting shut down, but in general, people don't feel safe shopping at CVS and Walgreens. You can go to any CVS and Walgreens and see what the shopping experience is like once you get outside. And I find that Amazon's prescription delivery service is going to be something that people rely on more than taking their daily trip or weekly trip to Walgreens and CVS for their prescriptions. So I think all those things coupled together is kind of dragging down the stock because it doesn't look as competitive in the prescription space. From a cash flow standpoint, they've offered guidance saying like, hey, these things are going to be big investments that take 3 to 7 years to be profitable. So
What
that's
do
all
you
I can tell
mean
you.
you don't feel safe when you walk outside to CVS? What does that mean?
I mean, I could tell you an example of like, I had a family member who had COVID, right? And it was a situation where I pushed them to like make sure that they got something that prevented like, I forget the name of the prescription, but you're supposed to try and get a prescription of it quickly to prevent serious side effects. If it's someone who's immunocompromised, has a history of asthma, whatever. But the amount of people that solicited us for like drugs just in the 30 minutes while we were sitting, like waiting for the pharmacist to come out, like, bro, you pull up, you sit in a parking spot for 30 minutes, like mad people will knock on your door asking for change, asking for whatever. Like the pharmacists don't even want to come outside. It's just like, I've seen this throughout the
Were
country.
you in the hood?
No, bro, like I'm telling you, like this occurs throughout the United States. Like,
That has to be in the hood area, bro.
Yeah, that does not happen here in Ohio in the burbs. That's I'm not saying it doesn't happen. There's not locations like that because I've been to places like that, not just pharmacies. But and I know you've had a long-term bearish thesis on it. You probably made a lot of money on it, right, gentlemen?
because it was more of like it was like a little 30%. Like,
no, I remember you
hey,
bringing it up like almost like a month ago, didn't you? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree with your thesis. I don't think we talked much there, but sorry you guys didn't feel safe, and it does happen. But I don't know if that's a thesis to follow through being bearish.
Yeah. It's probably a little anecdotal. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, it still sucks that you guys had to go through that just so your family members stayed healthy. Sorry.
Goddamn, homeless should go knock on people's windows elsewhere. God damn it.
Yeah, my wife actually had to get a prescription for my son. Not COVID related, just something that was but it was like first thing in the morning, like 7 a.m., 6 a.m. or something like that. And the only one that was open at that time was the one in Kissimmee. I'm here in Central Florida. So she had to drive down to Kissimmee, and she actually got approached. And I don't really consider Kissimmee that bad, but we also don't have those same problems at the CVS's here in Orlando.
Yeah, maybe disregard the anecdotal experience and just know that the amount of Amazon boxes that are going to contain boomer prescriptions are going to increase, and that is bearish for CVS.
Yeah, that was literally my next follow, was to mention how much they're going to. But on that note, like, when do we start to talk about splitting up Amazon, which I know has been mentioned on this thread before? You know, I mean, I think it has too many branches, and it definitely needs to go the way of Baby Bell.
Yeah, I think with splitting or saying like this segment could be better broken out, is better left for like, like I guess the CEOs to decide. But I do see the value of Amazon being, AWS, Amazon Logistics, and then, some other third-party healthcare company.
Well, I don't think the CEO is going to willingly split it up, because the AWS and everybody else balances out the other branches that are more negative. But I mean, when does the government step in and say, look, I mean, it literally took less to break up AT&T, and we haven't even brought up the subject government-wise of breaking up Amazon?
It's a whole different game now, though. There's a lot more money, going around. There's a lot more corruption. There's a lot more, palms getting greased. It's not like it was back in the day.
Oh, it's been getting greased just as bad for probably the inception of America.
Yeah, what do you mean when palms were getting greased? Come on, buddy. It was way worse 100 years ago.
You think so?
I know so. And
I mean, I think it went unchecked more back in the day. I think now it's...
I mean, to your point, I did just see, I mean, again, it was political rhetoric, but there was a congressperson, I think this week, that just said, big tech's getting like Standard Oil, to your point, where it's becoming so large of a conglomerate and just stepping over all of its competition and just becoming too big. There is some attention, and there has been, and unfortunately it's becoming a more partisan issue, if you will, a little bit. But if you look at the book value of both companies, the ones that are probably in the biggest risk for it, both Amazon and Google, they're both worth more split up than together. So it would create a ton of value. No, the CEO doesn't want to do it, but there's an increasing chance that they may be forced to do it.
Just keep in mind, again, this is politically anecdotal, but a lot of the people who tend to want to break up companies tend to be more Democratic. I mean, in the case of tech, it's been strongly Republican, but Jeff Bezos
but the whole
is a
thing with
heavy
social media,
Democratic donor.
the
So
social
watch the
media
money.
thing is pushed
Trump.
into it, right? What you say, Bourbon? Have you been drinking already?
Yeah, dude. It's Friday.
It's Thursday. It is
Friday
Thursday.
Eve, and I'm off tomorrow.
I thought Teddy Roosevelt was a Republican and he championed the trust busting.
Was he?
Yes, but he was a progressive
Yeah, but
Republican.
hasn't Republicans and Democrats flipped their ideologies since then?
No, absolutely not.
From the beginning of time, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I think it was Democrats were used to be more conservative. I just don't know when the flip is, but I do know there was
you
a
gotta
flip.
go back to like the 1800s for that.
Like,
I thought the flip was when McCarthy became important.
The flip is usually identified as sometime around the 20s or 30s, when the one party pulled away from the Southern strategy and one party started taking on more Southern pushes. But
yeah, Democrats were historically known against minorities too, which is funny because most minorities go Democrat now.
What I was saying too is the social media issue has really brought a lot of the Republicans into the let's break them up, right? They think that they're getting chastised. So I think that's, if you want to bring it to today, that's where they're kind of converging a little bit in the middle. Don't know what it's going to look like, but there's at least more talk of it.
I forgot to ask earlier, is anybody else bearish on Walmart? I know their gas sales went exclusively to Sam's member only members, and then they're closing they recently mentioned they're closing all their stores in Portland. I mean, isn't that between those things, isn't that going to affect their bottom line in the end?
You know how many stores they have in Portland? 2.
No. Still, that's still a loss, isn't it?
I mean, in a multi-billion-dollar company, that's really not that big of a deal. I mean, the store I work at is in rural Tennessee. I think last year we did about $90 million in sales. So that's a drop in the bucket for billions.
You can also look at it the opposite way. They're closing those stores for a reason. They were probably losing money. So closing those stores could help their bottom line. They're not closing a store because it's making them a tons of money.
Well, and to bring it back to the CBS conversation, sorry, real quick, they actually have high theft in some of those areas too.
Yeah, but even Portland aside, with their gas prices and Sam's member exclusive, I mean, I think they did that to try to trigger more people to get Sam's memberships, but I don't think that's panning out.
I mean, if you can't fill up at a Sam's Club, just go to Murphy's USA. That's going to be outside of a lot of Walmarts, especially in these big metro areas.
I'm bullish Costco all the way, but I mean, that's where I get my gas. It's readily easy, actually.
Costco.
Yeah.
They mentioned the other thing. Walmart has a deal with ExxonMobil, where if you have Walmart Plus subscription, you get 5 to 10 cents off at gas. So there's plenty of ways. I don't think gas is going to be the market breaker. Walmart itself, however, is very cyclical. And this is definitely, you're going to see a slide all the way down into like September, October.
Yeah.
At your guys' Costco's gas pumps, do you notice people taking the hose and wrapping it all the way around their car?
I do that.
You don't do that,
Yeah,
bro?
I do that,
unfortunately,
bro.
I have to do that because the other side of the line is always so long. So it's like they designed it that way intentionally because there's
Yep.
always long lines. You can't do that at a regular gas station.
Did they do that intentionally?
Amen. Amen to Costco for doing that.
Yeah, that's smart.
That's wild to me. I would never do that.
Does anybody notice that Costco is still opening? Actually, of what they've announced, there's
Costco membership, retarded ape.
Yeah, there's I think locations being open so far this year. And I do know, at least being again in Central Florida, having talked to someone, they are unofficially opening one in Lake Nona, which is where Disney's moving their headquarters to.
So you think all the Disney employees are going to get Costco membership?
Lake Nona is the new Dr. Phillips here in Central Florida, so Lake Nona is just money. Like, it's oozing money. There's 3 hospitals in the location. Nemours, the VA, and UCF. There's also some tennis association over there. I mean, it's just the entire area is just oozing money.
Got to be paddleball courts, right?
Yeah, I mean, to give you an idea, a Drive Shack went up damn near overnight. I mean, yeah, granted, this was I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, but I mean, it was pretty fast. The money out there is ridiculous.
That was a nice spy pump. Coming back down a little bit.
Anybody watching Intel this morning? It's kind of pumping hard.
Yeah, I was watching it. Not really sure if there's any news coming out, but as far as the range that Intel is trading in versus the other chip makers, I think that it's kind of oversold, and I'm not surprised if people are buying at this price.
The option chain's pretty cheap on it right now too.
So Hardy, on your chart on your website, when you're saying things cross like delta neutral and gamma max, are you talking where it crosses the stock price?
Yeah, when the blue crosses either the red or the green line, sometimes both.
With that site, it's one thing to be like, oh, this is at its delta neutral and gamma max. But what is helpful for me is like, let's say it's coming from below delta neutral and is like crossing up through it. You go back and see, okay, how many times has it done this recently? How many times has it done this overall? How much time do I usually need
if it's something that's going from delta to gamma, does it take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? So each stock, when you look at it on the site, you can kind of say like, here's where it's at, here's my game plan. But if you actually want the math, just look at Hardy's posts.
I'm of the opinion before you even take one of those plays, look at the context of the cross. You can get a sense of how big a move I'm expecting.
And the median expectation is that you will be able to realize half on a double. Is that essentially what you're trying to simulate?
Yep, and the pricing reflects that. So there are some instances where the price is dramatically far away from the last close. But I'm going based off the probability of a double.
Right, but is it a binary, like did this double 1, it did not double 0, or is it like approximately 50% of the time you will achieve a double?
So the backtest is around 60%, and it was tuned that way intentionally. But the problem with backtesting is it's unclear how much liquidity there is at a given price level. So yeah, sure, you could probably sell this contract for $4.20, but there's only a buyer for 2 contracts, and you have got 100 to unload. So that's partly why I don't put a lot of faith in backtested results.
With it being so quiet, I think we'll go ahead and end it here on Reddit. And you're more than welcome to go over to Discord and continue on the conversation there.
Hey, before you guys end it, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, is Hardy still on?
What's up?
Hey man, got a quick question. So when it comes to option trading, how significant is the IV Greek?
Very significant, depending on the size of your Vega.
Okay, because so one of my issue is that I've been trying to look for options with the lowest, with the lowest IV. Oh, obviously they have to have other things behind it, not just IV. But for whatever reason, I can never. It's like I can never see the switch. Like whenever IV goes high or decrease, like I don't know. Is there a way to track IV? Is there like a screen that you can build?
Yes, but I built my own. So
Oh,
I have no doubt that there are premium screeners out there. Part of the trouble is that different institutions have different definitions of IV with slight tweaks. So you can use something like Black-Scholes to take the current option price and then back it out against things like put versus call, days to expiration, free interest rate, etc., and then figure out what the market implied volatility is for a given options contract. And a contract, remember, is a direction, a strike, and an expiration. So with those three values, you can then plot what's called a volatility surface or a vol surface. So you can get a sense of the distribution of implied volatility at a contract level.
Roger that.
And that's what gets computationally expensive.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. Hey man, thanks so much.
If your goal is to trade contracts that are not sensitive to implied volatility, you need to find something with a low vega.
Low vega. Okay. Too easy.
So where delta is the sensitivity to the underlying price, vega is the sensitivity to the implied volatility.
Okay. Low vega. All right, Hardy. Well, I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning again. You guys have a great trading day.
All right. To everyone else, good luck and don't lose too much money.